Hello everyone, my name is Ahmed Abeer. Thanks for joining the webinar. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Before we dive into the today's topic, let me introduce myself. I'm Ahmed Abeer. I'm the Director of Product Management at Alkira. I've been with the industry for last 15 years. I have with me Chris Noon. Chris, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Nice to meet everyone. I am the Director of Solution Engineering, and I've been working in the network environment, ISPs, private companies, and vendors for over 20 years now.
All right, so in the next 10 to 15 minutes, we'll walk you through all the business and technical challenges enterprise face. And we will also talk about how Alkira is solving those challenges. Finally, we'll talk about all the customer journeys we have, and we'll take all your question and answers. Uh, Feel free to put your questions on your questionnaires and we'll answer you. So as you all of know, right, today's all the enterprise are adopting the multi-cloud. They are adopting the distributed apps and hybrid environment. But your network and security are fragmented, and they are more complex than ever. So all the enterprise would like to solve those business challenges. They would like to solve the fragmented security posture due to the inconsistent policies across your CSPs. They would like to have a single pane of glass where they can see all their networking and security events. They would like to reduce their higher OPEX. It is increasing because now you need a more skill set for each different environment. On top of it, you have to deploy sometime repetitive architecture in different clouds because most of CSPs has some primary cloud and some secondary cloud, right? So in that case, you have so you if you deploy the multiple firewalls, set of firewalls, deploy multiple appliances, that will increase your OPEX. And last but not least, you have some compliance risk because now you have this. You cannot enforce a uniform governance across the CSPs. You have some security roles. You have some higher risk. So to all, how do we address those business challenges? Plus, there are some challenges enterprise are facing. Every enterprise would like to have a isolated environment, whether it's for your prod, non-prod environment, whether you have the corporate and the partner segment. If you have, let's suppose, some merger and acquisition, and you would like to, before it completely merge together, you would like to make sure your services are running, they have a connectivity, but at the same time, you want to make sure you have a complete segmentation. But this is not practical, right? In some cases, we don't want to deploy the same services again and again. We would like to share some services also. So that is where resource sharing is very critical. We would like to give access to our partners, to our other business unit, to the corporate services, for example, DDI services, for example, your payment services, for example, your firewall services, so that you can securely access those services, getting those DNS, DHCP requests on a same time. You can also get some inspection done. So you would like to have those isolation environment where they can work in the environment, but you also would like to share some services. But that's not enough, right? In some cases, you would like to have also the deep inspection of your traffic between layer 4 and layer 7, whether it's a single cloud, whether it's the multi-cloud, whether it's a hybrid cloud environment. Every enterprise has different policies. Some customers prefer, they have their policies where they don't expect any traffic between the VPC to VPC or your east-west traffic. But other enterprises, they prefer to have these different set of firewalls for your north, south, east, west traffic, and they would like to have a different set of firewalls for your ingress and egress. How do you achieve this thing in a multi-cloud environment? Because those CSPs do not talk to each other, and you have to inspect those traffic multiple times. If you're moving, if your workload, if you're initiating traffic from your cloud to cloud, or you're going from cloud to on-prem, in that case, you have to double inspect traffic before you reach to the other cloud. And how do you connect those two cloud together, whether through on-prem, whether through your internet. You cannot completely leverage the hyperscaler backbones if you have this, fragmented networks. That breaks your security posture and that breaks your routing structure as well. This and on top of it, every enterprise would like to have their route control and governance. They would like to make sure what are they advertising to the other environments like on-prem or the to the internet. They also would like to learn like what they are learning the routes from the other environment. And similarly, they would like to also steer the traffic. They would like to say, okay, the traffic is are the traffic from coming from on-prem, is it basically would like to go to the from branch to branch, or is going from branch to the cloud, or is going from cloud to cloud? Do you would like to inspect those traffic? Do you want to we want to bypass those traffic? All those policies are very important to have a governance and to have a control of your network. And if you have this external case, in this case you will probably see the overlapping IP address problem. You would also need a policy where you can address all those overlapping needs, whether it's between the cloud to cloud or the on-prem, whether it's one-to-one netting happening, or whether it's many-to-one or one-to-many. All those things are part of the network management, where it helps you connect your networks together. There's the other part of this thing is very important, is how you connect your user to the cloud. For example, like if you so there are two different things happening. This is where your zero trust network comes into play. Would you like to connect your user to the workloads, or do your apps are talking to other apps? This is where you make sure like, okay, this person has the enough profile to access your network, or they can access all the workloads together. So if you see like in general, right, what is happening is your if you don't have this visibility of the overall thing, you are building a network in one place which is have different constraint, different security constraints, and you are building in maybe like one CSP, another CSP, another CSP, because every enterprise, as I mentioned earlier, like have a primary CSP and then the backup CXP, right? So you are eventually increasing the cost. You are basically have a different policies for your security posture perspective, and you are also don't have visibility because every other CSP has a different way of monitoring their network and security events. So you don't have a single pane of glass that you can see, okay, what is happening in the network and who is accessing the network. Do they have the right profile to access your applications, right? So how do we resolve all those problems? That is where Alkira comes into play. Just to give you a very quick 2 minutes overview about the Alkira, if you're not familiar with Alkira, if you see the hexagon in the between, is called cloud exchange point. These you can consider it as a virtual colos, which are available more than the 100 global regions. You can deliver as a service. We deliver as a service as you can deploy anywhere in the world as an on-demand infrastructure, and it's scalable as per your need. If you want to deploy your branches or your connectivity to your SD-WAN or your MPLS, or you want to connect with your workloads in the cloud, everything is like one click step. Just go click it and you can scale it as per your need. On top of it, Alkira provides all the segmentation, whatever is needed. Segmentation and micro segmentation. Sometimes customer has a single segment, but they would like to divide into different groups. So you can divide those things with Alkira. And Alkira provides all the rich platform features which is required for any enterprise, whether from the single plane of monitoring visibility aspect, where you can see everything what's happening in your environment. You can see alerts, you can see utilization, you can see how is your cost is increasing, how is your network is growing, and you can have all the tools for day-to-day operations from the troubleshooting aspect. You can do all segmentations. So you can see everything in seamless manner, like how those capabilities work and play. And you can do integrate with your third party like ServiceNow, or your, for example, for your flows, if you want to see how your app, whose application is spiking. So all those kind of things you can see in your in third party indication. You can do it by yourself. So before I hand it over to Chris to show you how those capabilities are utilized by the customers in the live production environment, I have a small poll for you guys. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes to answer before we head over to Chris to take you away for your customer journeys. All right. So Chris, do you want to show how our customers are using those capabilities?
Yeah, sure. That'd be great. Thanks. So one thing I wanted to cover today was just the fact that Alkira is a very modular product. Everything Ahmed has shown you today is basically everything within the platform from a kind of segmentation and a security perspective. It's not an all or nothing approach with Alkira. It's very much what you want to do within the Alkira platform and what services you want to utilize. So if we go to the next slide, what we'll do is we'll start with one of our more basic use cases, which is for a small company outside or inside of the UK. And in essence, what they have is they have on-prem firewalls handling their branch and their data center connectivity, and they are quite happy with the security group and network security group concepts within the cloud. So that's how they apply the rule sets and how they apply allow and deny policies. But then what they use Alkira for is a traditional backbone. So what they want to do is they just want to get their sites from on-prem in London to their cloud environments in Ireland and London, respectively. So all they need us for is that layer 3 transit. But what they wanted to do was start with that piece that Ahmed covered first, that layer 3 segmentation. We cover VRF technology as a core baseline within Alkira, so we're able to actually separate that production and pre-production traffic. You don't necessarily need to use next-gen firewalls or Alkira policies, route policies, or NAT policies that I'll run through today. But in essence, it's just a layer 3 isolated domain for production and pre-production. If we build on top of this on the next slide, we can start looking at customers that start adding a bit more modularity within the cloud platform. So we have one of our customers that works in a very similar aspect to an MSP, so a managed service provider, where they own the platform and then they kind of resell on top of Alkira. So they have multiple customers and within their own kind of Alkira environment, and they're just reselling the technology and connecting all of these different departments and all these different companies together. Okay? What's good here is they've used the same concept as that segregated layer 3 domain, that completely separated and isolated VRF within Alkira to reuse the same tenancy. And then within that same tenancy, what they've done is they've added on a next-gen firewall. So this customer specifically has chosen Palo Alto. So we cover Palo Alto, Checkpoint, FortiGate, and Cisco within our platform. They've chosen Palo Alto because it's also VRF capable within our platform. So a single set of Palo Alto firewalls within EMEA can cater for multiple departments and still keep that complete isolation, allowing them to provide layer 4 and layer 7 security services to all their customers without increasing the overall TCO of their deployment. So if we kind of keep with that similar model on our next slide, we're just using the same concepts that we've built on and the same concepts that Ahmed Abeer has expressed, but now we're using it slightly differently in the way that a single customer is using 3 logical layer 3 domains, a production, a pre-production, and a stage. And these guys have coupled it with a FortiGate firewall. So this is a cluster, obviously 2 FortiGates, and they've placed a FortiGate in every single one of their CXPs around the globe. What we've actually done is delivered them a layer 3 backbone, which has improved their speeds by about 15 to 30%. We've lowered their cost because we've been able to remove things like MPLS and dark fiber. And we're also looking to mimic this exact same setup in China. And Alkira that enable that concept because we can deploy our nodes directly in China and connect to the rest of the world with our unique solution. So here you can see that each one of these production, pre-production, and staging environments are completely isolated, and they can connect to any part of the globe, completely isolated from each other, all using those same FortiGate firewalls and those same FortiGate concepts. Now, if we go to the final slide, this is where we kind of couple all the pieces that Ahmed Abeer has been talking about. So it's a very similar concept. We're not changing the diagram too much because we don't want too much confusion to be seen. But in essence, what you've got is checkpoint firewalls here in the center to add a layer of security, production and production VRFs to completely isolate those workloads to ensure no production to traffic. And what they've done is duplicated this everywhere. So in the USA, South America, and the Middle East. What's really interesting about this is what they've done is they've actually used the Alkira policies, so traffic policies, NAT, routing policy, to add all this additional functionality. So this is like the full suite of network security within the Alkira platform, where they segregated everything from a layer 3 domain perspective. What they've done is they've Alkira layer 4 policies, which are free on the platform, and then they've only pushed a portion that allow and deny traffic towards the checkpoint firewall. This ensures that things like database backups from site to site or from cloud to cloud don't necessarily have to be inspected by a checkpoint firewall. It's not directly in line. But then when they do some web traffic or some other traffic that needs IDS, IPS inspection or some antivirus inspection, they can start utilizing these heavy next-gen firewalls in our platform. So it really allows you to scale your firewalls accordingly. So only scale them for the traffic you need rather than for this team has also enabled their NAT policy. So some of their environments have overlapping IP addresses, which Ahmed has spoken about, which is really good from a merger and acquisition use case or a vendor use case. And they've also got routing policies. So some of their branches have only learned the locations of the cloud or the IP addressing schemes of the cloud and not the data centers. So they're even isolating what can be reached from different areas by using Alkira's routing policies, both in and out, and kind of setting up a best case scenario. This is our preferred path. This is our secondary path. So if we move on to my final slide today, it's just kind of recap everything that we've spoken about. So within Alkira, we are a very modular platform, as we said, and all these tools are at your disposal, but you don't have to use each one of them. So segments are used to create isolated layer 3 domains, so completely isolated layer 3 VRFs. We can use resource sharing, what we call VRF route leaking, to merge those environments should you wish, and this works very well in an M&A case, for example. And then we also have Alkira policies, so we can use Alkira policies to do layer 4 traffic isolation, and then we can couple that with next-gen firewall insertion. So we can couple that with IDS, IPS inspection. We can do some antivirus, some data loss prevention, those kind of things. We can also have alert and audit logs, and these can be forwarded to any system of your choosing, or they can be viewed within the Alkira platform. And then finally, within our platform, because of the way we deliver all of these VRFs and the way we deliver our CXPs around the globe, we can comply to data sovereignty requirements. So we can have VRFs kind of be isolated only to one area where your data never leaves that region. So the final slide is just a thank you for everyone for turning up, and then obviously we do have any questions. Apparently my audio is a little sketchy. I do apologize for that. I'm traveling today from conferences. If anybody does have any questions, we can put them in the chat. If not, I'll read a couple out. So we do have one question here. What changes for people and processes moving to an Alkira network? If a team is appliance heavy today, what is the safest pilot path you recommend to reduce risk while showing value quickly? Ahmed, I understand my audio is a little bit sketchy, so do you want to take that one?
Okay, so let me just read the question again. Can you repeat the question one more time, Chris?
Yeah, sure. It's what changes for people and processes moving to an Alkira network. If a team is appliance heavy today, what is the safest path you recommend to reduce risk while showing value quickly? So, in essence, if they are very heavy kind of in data centers using networking equipment, what's the easiest way to move to Alkira, learn and progress?
Okay, so there are multiple things, right? So if you are, let's suppose, on-prem heavy, right? You can, if you're moving your workloads in the cloud, you can still have your on-prem environment, and you can connect some of your slowly moving those environment. You don't have to manage those infrastructure as well. So Alkira provide everything as a service, right? So you, while you have this everything in place for your on-prem environment, you can keep it running. You're moving your application to the cloud, and you can just move it, connect with your existing hybrid cloud environment, and Alkira will provide all those things as a service for you guys, and it will help you from managing perspective, from your cost perspective, and from in general your overall operation aspect. Because do you want to add something?
No, no, that's fantastic. So another question would be, how do you guarantee or confirm data sovereignty? So I can take that one. So in essence, what we do is we deploy our CXPs and only in the regions that you want. So for example, if you wanted a common one for us is in the Middle East. So if you wanted to deploy CXPs within the UAE region and we deployed them only in the UAE region, the traffic would never leave there. Equally, if you were to have multiple CXPs, let's say Singapore, the Middle East, and one in Europe, for example, if you created connectors only in the Middle East for branches and clouds, and you placed them only and you connected those things only within the UAE, then those, even though the segment is available everywhere else, it wouldn't be created, and thus the traffic would never actually leave any of those sovereign environments. Okay, I've got another one here, maybe one for you, Ahmed. What if I have an existing security policy on my SD-WAN appliance on-prem? Can I use it with Alkira?
Yeah, you can extend. So you can use. So typically, what customers are doing it, they have SD-WAN appliance. They have their policies. You can use the same one. Typically, all the enterprise and customers are deploying hub inside the enterprise, and yeah, you can extend the same segmentation, or if you have any policies, you can same thing extend to the cloud through Alkira.
Perfect. So the second to last one is, am I able to keep my security policies consistent, and how does segmentation work if my AI workloads are distributed everywhere?
Yeah, so
Would you want to take that?
oh, but that's fine. So yeah, like so for from segmentation perspective, right? This is a very genuine concern as this new AI LLMs are coming in. Every enterprise would like to like secure that environment. So in that case, what Alkira does is you can create those segmentation which has the isolated domains and the independent routing like an island, right? You can create those things and you can make sure with your traffic policies and from especially from traffic policies, if you would like to allow any person from the certain profiles, certain users, if you want to spread those traffics, so you can define all those things within the Alkira. So that's a very typical use case what enterprise are using it for to protect their LLMs. So yeah, I would say that's not a problem at all.
Perfect. So I can take this one. It's asking, what about locations without local CXPs? Can Alkira still guarantee data sovereignty? So the way Alkira works is we deploy our CXPs, our cloud exchange points, in the public cloud. So we deploy them in AWS, Azure, or GCP. So as long as there is a CSP region available in the area, we will use that. For example, there isn't one in Turkey. So if you wanted data sovereignty within Turkey, that's not something we could do because we wouldn't be able to deploy a CXP within that country. We need the cloud providers to be present in that country. And once the cloud providers are present in that country, we can spin up our CXPs and apply data sovereignty logic. Yeah, there's another one here. Yep.
No, I'm just saying, like, so you can think of like all the Alkira infrastructure, right? Is in the hyperscaler, it's in the cloud. There's nothing on the anywhere else. So we leverage all the hyperscalers. So that's why we said earlier also we have more than 100 regions available. But if you see some regions is not available, and if you would like to support that region, we can easily support that region within a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's great. The next one, probably one for you, Ahmed, just because you're from product. Is there any limitation to the firewalls vendors being deployed? I'm assuming we're talking about number of firewalls and different types of firewalls and maybe different vendors.
Yes, so Alkira supports multiple firewall vendors. For example, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, Fortinet, Cisco FTD. So all the major ones we supported, and there is no limitation in that aspect. Like, from if even customer would like to use two different firewalls for two different use cases, it happens. We have customers who are using different firewall vendors for their different network. So you can leverage those things. You can have anywhere you can insert those service insertion for any of your flows, and you can you can deploy like wherever you would like to see it. For, let's suppose, for your ingress egress traffic, or for your any traffic you can control through traffic policies. I'm not aware of any limitations which you will see when deploying Alkira. And so Alkira will take care of all your deployment, connect with firewalls with the management system, whether it's Panorama, whether it's the FMC, whether it's your Fortinet, what's called Forti Manager. So it will connect to, from the networking aspect, all the connectivity. You will only need to log in to your firewalls or your management system and push the policies. That's it. So all the infra will be hosted inside the Alkira infrastructure.
Exactly. One more question is, if a firewall or SD-WAN vendor is not currently being supported, how do vendors get approved and how do they get placed within the Alkira platform, or how do we integrate with them in the meantime?
Yes, so for the new platform, right? I think we support, as I mentioned earlier, most of the firewall vendors and the SD-WAN vendors. So from the SD-WAN vendors, we support Cisco, we support, VMware, VeloCloud, we support, like, all the Versa, and you can name it. If anything is not supported, obviously we have this release cycle, like, so we'll map it to the roadmap, and we'll deliver to you as. So we typically do the partnership with the vendors, and we work together, and we bring support on our marketplace.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we've had we've got as I understand it, Ahmed, we've got a new firewall vendor coming in and a new SD-WAN vendor coming in based on customer demand as well. So we regularly roll out anything for our customers. We don't build them hoping customers come. We kind of build what you're wanting to have within the platform, which is a great way to work, in my opinion. Yeah. Besides VRFs and segmentation, is there an inherent security in Alkira without implementing other security vendors besides Checkpoint, Palo Alto, etc.? So yes, there is. So obviously we've discussed the VRFs and segmentation piece around Alkira, but then we also have Alkira traffic policies, which is akin to or very similar to kind of a Cisco ACL. So you can place them on any ingress point or any egress point on the Alkira platform. So you can secure all of your traffic flows without having to deploy any next-gen firewall vendors. We actually have one customer in Europe that had a Cisco firewall for terminating a lot of mergers and acquisitions and vendor onboarding and bringing them into their production environments. And what they did was they switched to Alkira, and now they use our layer 4 firewall. So they've actually, while moving to Alkira, removed the requirement for a next-gen firewall. So it's not a mandatory piece. As long as you're happy with layer 4, we have layer 4 policies free within the platform. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Got quite a few questions, Ahmed. So I'll go through these. What is the first measurable win customers should expect in their first 30 to 60 days, and how do you prove value to a business that quickly?
Okay, so from the customer value perspective, right? The first thing, like I can give you some of the public customer example as well. You have seen, like, your deployment timeline will increase significantly. We have customers, public references where you can see we have deployed more than 1,400 stores in just a week time frame. That's our public reference. You can go and check. So it will definitely, you don't have to worry about all the connectivity aspect. You just have to worry about how to enable more services, how to bring more business. So it gives you right away the impact. And before you know any issues in your network, whether it's from the connectivity aspect, from the performance aspect, from any aspect. So we obviously, Alkira provides the SLA for the infrastructure. So you will see right away, like, you don't need to worry about the network connectivity. You don't have to worry about how the different limitations we have in different CSPs. You can use it from day zero, just like seamlessly for all the clouds, for whether it's for your AWS environment or your GCP environment or your Azure or OCI. You can just use all the constants the same way, and Alkira basically overcome all the limitations what we have in the cloud. So, Chris, do you want to add something?
No, no, I think that's perfectly put. Nice one, Ahmed. We have got another one here. So if we had to kind of explain this to our CISO tomorrow, what kind of risk mitigation and risk reduction does Alkira bring to the table? So
Yes.
I
So
can take that one. Oh, sorry, go for it, Ahmed.
go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
so
Chris.
I think from our perspective, one of the great things about Alkira is we are a true as a service platform. There's no agents to install on-prem. There's no agents to install in cloud. So everything, every kind of risk mitigation from a software and a pen test perspective, we're constantly pen testing. We have bounty programs running, all of those kind of things to ensure that our platform is, incredibly secure, and everything is upgraded and maintained and patched all by us. So as soon as any kind of vulnerability in the world is found, we see it, we notice it, and we upgrade our platforms to make sure we are not at risk. And inherently, that means our customers are not at risk. So from a CISO perspective, you're kind of almost offloading the risk mitigation and compliance piece to Alkira, just kind of ensuring that we manage that for you, and then you obviously just manage the security policies and whether they be layer 4 or layer 7 within the platform. Yeah. So we've got a few more here we can go through in a few more minutes. Maybe one for you, Ahmed, from a product perspective. Where do customers typically over-engineer? What can we safely stop doing from day one when you move to Alkira?
Can you repeat? You're picking up a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. So where do customers typically over-engineer? Where do you think that Alkira can simplify operations from day one?
Simplify, as I was saying, right, from the simplification perspective, as soon as you start deploying those things, right, from your network connectivity expert, that's where the biggest impact is. Like, when you onboard your workloads, right? When you onboard your workloads, or if you want to go to if you have the internet facing applications, or if you have any SD-WAN connectivity, right? You can just when you connect those things, you have a one single place of glass where you can monitor all your network activities, where you can see, like, okay, so how is your network behaving, what is allowed, what is not allowed, who is accessing your network. So you can see from the day two operations right away, okay, now we have the connectivity, how is our network behaving. Is if somebody complains, okay, my performance slowing down, Alkira can tell you, like, what is the latency between the regions, and all those things are happening. At least you can see, like, from the right away, from the day two operation perspective, the major impact from the management perspective and from the visibility perspective.
Yeah, I think that's great. This is probably one of the most obvious success stories we see when customers move to Alkira. So I can take this one. What is the simplest success story you've seen? One use case that proves value without re-architecting everything. So one of our large customers out in the APAC region used to have layer 7 analysis of all their traffic. And then what they used to do was, even though their clouds were spread around spread around the globe, they would actually hairpin that traffic back to APAC for layer 7 analysis and then send it out, which created a tremendous amount of latency. Because of the number of regions, they were looking at kind of deploying next-gen firewalls in all of these regions, but that became very expensive and very complex, especially when using multi-cloud. So what we did was we spun up CXP so that I used service insertion and deployed next-gen firewalls in there for them. So they had local layer 7 analysis. So we reduced latency by about 80% just because we were able to give them a local layer 7 analysis. They were able to reduce from over 100 VPN tunnels to 2 per site, and it just created a very simple model for them to use, and they continue to grow with us, and they continue to use different use cases and different functionality within the platform. But that was a real quick win they saw within 3 or 4 months. Any that come to mind for you, Ahmed, or are you happy with my answer?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Perfect. And the final question for today, I'll let you take the honors, Ahmed. Am I able to keep my security policies consistent? How does Alkira segmentation? We've had that one with the AI workloads everywhere, right?
Yeah, we did it already.
Yeah, we've done that already. I think it came through twice. No problem. That's all the questions that we've covered today. Now we've only got a few minutes left, so if there are no other questions, I think we can call it for today. And I just want to thank everyone for coming today, joining. I hope it's been useful. And obviously, if you need anything at all, or if you have any further questions, you can reach out to Ahmed or myself or anyone from the Alkira team, and we'd be more than happy to talk.